Game of Thrones. What can I say? What a ride. Yeah, I finally watched the show. I loved it. It was one of the better shows that I've watched in probably ever. Top 10 or wherever. Yeah, it lived up to the hype. We'll talk about the ending here. Just give me a second. Yeah, so the first two seasons I watched, and I took a break. It was just so much exposition and talking about the characters, and nothing was really happening. So I gave it a break, came back to it because I need something to watch and keep me preoccupied while I wasn't working or whatever. And one of the better decisions I've made. I want to bring up two important callbacks or scenes that I loved. Specifically, the first one being the Hodor character. The big guy that was following around Bronn, I think it was Bronn Stark or something. Yeah, it's the little guy's name. Yeah, so his name is Hodor, and when the White Walkers were coming down the cave where the big tree was, I forgot what it's called. He was holding the door, and his name is Hodor, and they were doing a callback to his childhood, and it took me a couple of seconds to realize, and I was like, oh, that is just bananas. I don't know if anybody else saw that coming, but when they said that, I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't know if they planned to do that from season one or whatever, or George Martin or whatever his name is, the author. They wrote all these series. If that was in the book or not, but when that happened in the show, I was like, that's freaking cool. Another scene when Arya Stark was fighting Brianna Tarth. I think it was the last season or end of season 7. They were fighting, and Brianna Tarth was kind of getting her ass kicked by Arya, and Brianna said, "Who taught you that?" And Arya goes, "No one." And that's a callback to the no-faced man that she was trained by to say, "I'm nobody." And when they said that, I was like, "Oh, that's that's that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio that's that's me." That's what I was like in that moment, and I was kind of freaking out. But that's two scenes that I really thought were cool. The Battle of the Bastards between Jon Snow and Ramsay Bolton was probably the best show episode I've ever watched. I know it's a bold take, but at least the choreography of the battle scene was one of the best I've ever seen, because I had a buddy tell me that the showrunners for that episode studied old war, not outtakes, so I mentioned that. They studied old war techniques and them forming the circle around and everything. So it was such a cool episode, and it was so real. And the hate I had for Ramsay Bolton, I cannot express it. That actor did a phenomenal job of portraying that character, and I was just pissed off everything of what he did. My goodness, I can't even say what he did on this podcast because it's a little too R-rated, but golly, dude, I wanted to just torture that dude, and finally gets his death. But yeah, some of these characters were just amazing in this show. On my Instagram I did let me see. I did a rundown of all my favorite characters. So I'll just kind of read it. Not verbatim, just kind of go through them. Bronn, he was such a funny character. Arya Stark, she's an alpha female, and her dad would be proud of her to see all that she's accomplished in all the later seasons. Tyrion, this dude can't fight. He's a half man, and he somehow survived all this time just by politicking and his name and money. It's just, he's hilarious. Peter Dinklage is awesome. Emilia Clarke, Daenerys, just gorgeous, first of all. And then I never rooted for a woman more in a show that was did more deserving. It was in a time where guys ruled the world and women were told to just shut up and cook, and she just I mean, it was because of her name, but it was cool. Yeah, Ramsay, I hated him, little muskrat. That big wildling redhead. Looks like me if I took steroids. Jon Snow reminded me of Steve Rogers, Captain America. Just so many similarities. Like it was such a cool character. The way they killed him and then brought him back to life was a little corny. I'm not a big fan of them killing characters and bringing them back to life, but I think he should have just been in a coma or whatever. But the Hound was hilarious. Such an asshole. You kind of gotta love him. The Mountain's the most overrated character of all time. That dude pissed me off. Yeah, the dragons and the White Walkers were so nicely foreshadowed in the earlier seasons. And then when they finally came on screen, it was like, whoa, that's what I was waiting for. Like the scene where the dragons finally kind of get to full size, and that scene where one of the I think it's Drogon floats up and kills that goat and flies off. That where I was like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for. So that was cool. And then the White Walkers, one of the scenes I love most was obviously the battle at the end, but where were they at? They're at the Wildlings like Lake View Lakeview property. Their house is by the lake, whatever, and the White Walkers come, and then Jon and those guys get away, and there's like a minute and a half silence of them just staring at each other, and that was like just bone chilling to watch that scene. So that's one of the scenes I really liked. You could really feel that tension through the screen, and yeah. So let me get to the end here. I think they nobody liked the ending. Spoiler: Daenerys dies. She gets stabbed by Jon Snow, her nephew, I believe, is the correct term. But I think they got away with too many big deaths in the show, and that was the last straw of the fans being like, "No, you can't stop. You got to stop killing our favorite characters and us just supporting of what you guys do." They killed Ned Stark in the first season, the main guy, and everybody's like, "Whoa, that's pretty bold." But the show went on. The Red Wedding, they killed the mom. Forgot her name. What's the boy's name? Oh yeah, Robb Stark. Gosh dang it! I know some of you are watching like it's Robb Stark. Yeah, Robb Stark, his baby mama, and then their kid, and then a bunch of their people. So the Red Wedding, it was another one where it's like they killed off so many characters, but the show still went on, and we were like supporting them during that time, right? And I think that was George R. R. Martin's writing still. I think the last season only was when they brought in new writers. And then you get to the end, and then once Daenerys finds out she's not truly the heir to the throne, Jon is, because he's a Targaryen. That's when it clicked for me. I'm like, I bet you she dies. Excuse me, she dies. Sure enough, she did. I called it. I think how they went about it too was bad because she like destroyed the whole city. If she didn't destroy the whole city, but she died, maybe in battle or maybe even Jon stabbing her, that would have been a more justified death. But the fact that she her character did like a severe 180 turnaround in her character arc within like 40 minutes, it was just like, what is going on here? She was this badass female in this time, and now she's just like just dead from her nephew. So I think my whole rule with endings, if you don't like the ending, you have to pick out, or not necessarily the ending, but like just shows in general. If you don't like a scene or whatever, you have to create how they should have done it, and if you can't do that, then you should just go with what they created in the show, if that makes sense. Like if you can't think of anything better, then just shut your mouth. That's basically what I'm saying, and that goes for me too. So here's my proposition. I think oh my gosh, I think they should have went their separate ways, and the dragon still killed the chair, whatever, I forgot what it's called, and they went their separate ways, and it's a more Jon goes to the Night's Watch like he did, and then Daenerys goes I forgot what I was gonna say. Basically what I'm trying to say is they have to know that it's gonna piss off a lot of people. I don't know why they went through with it. Based on off her character, leading up to that point, it's like it's justifiable with what they wrote, but you got to know it's going to piss off a lot of people. And that's easy for us to say now because we know that in hindsight, but you just can't kill one of the favorite characters. You know, they kept John on because he was a fan favorite. So I think either kill her in battle or let them go their separate ways back to their own, not tribes. I forgot what it's called. Some of the terms are slipping away from me because it's been like a month since I finished it. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I'm excited for House of Dragon in August, and we'll see how it goes. But gosh, it was such a thrill, it was such a ride. I invited a couple of buddies over to watch the last 2 episodes with me, and it was amazing. Yeah, I regret not watching it live. I remember when Twitter was going crazy when Arya stabbed the Night King. I knew that was a spoiler, so I expected that. But yeah, the ending, I think, man, I think season 8 was good up until the last 40 minutes of the last episode. It just went really downhill, and they really dropped the ball. But I'm not mad at it. I'm just like kind of frustrated. I just finished Ozark, and that was probably a worse ending for those who watched it. I might do a video on that, but yeah, I mean, another thing too about Game of Thrones, it's funny to see the accents, because every time I watch a show like Peaky Blinders or Game of Thrones, I pause the show during the middle of it, and then I like act out the accent because I think it's so cool. But this, like, half of Game of Thrones is just friends walking in on other friends like having sex, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Your Grace. Can't you see I'm with the whore?" Like, that's all it is. That's all it is. It's hilarious, but yeah, I saw a lot of. So people told me it was like really gory and nudity. I was like, yeah. And I watched Game of Thrones. I was like, these people like don't own clothes. It's crazy. But yeah, what a fun ride that was. I wish I could rewatch it. I regret not watching it. But if you made it this far in video, drop your favorite scene, your favorite character, what you thought of the ending. I know it's 3-4 years later, but I'm always late on TV shows because I'm an anti-bandwagon when it comes to TV shows. But yeah, drop your favorite everything in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, do what you gotta do, and I'll see you guys later.